A path towards easing coronavirus restrictions in California. Governor Newsom says students could return to the classroom as early as late July to make up for lost learning during the pandemic. This is a first glimpse into a potential timeline of exactly when we will return to a new normal. Thanks for joining us for the Nightly Check-In. I'm Mark Mullena. So Governor Newsom wants to make it clear we're not out of the woods yet, but he says California is stable enough that we are weeks, not months away from gradually reopening. That's why it is timely, he says, to prepare for what that looks like. The state is working on 4 broad phases right now, saying the current lockdown and planning represents phase 1. Phase 2 includes reopening lower risk spaces like restaurants and retail, which could be modified to limit physical interaction. The third phase of reopenings, including facilities like gyms and hair and nail salons, as well as church gatherings. And the fourth phase, considered to be many months away, consists of larger public venues like concerts and large events. As for schools, we mentioned the state is considering moving up the fall 2020 school year to July or early August, with restaurants and retail expected to reopen before that time.
As a parent myself, and having talked to many other parents and educators, even the kids, I think we might want to consider getting that school year moved up a little bit.
The governor said what needs to happen next is teachers and administrators need to be prepared for what their new normal will be, and the physical space where kids will be learning needs to be modified and adapted to meet physical distancing rules. Stay tuned. So how do local educators feel about the governor's announcement? Today we heard from San Diego Unified trustee Richard Barrera, who agreed with the governor that there's been a loss of learning during this disruption, but still a lot of questions yet to be answered, like testing.
How will we know that students are and staff are safe to come back in? Is it using immunity, based testing to determine that? Would we be doing daily temperature checks? All of those kinds of issues we would need to get guidance on. So many things that need to be figured out.
Barrera said teacher schedules will have to be considered too, and Sacramento still has to come up with money to make all of this happen. Let's get a check on today's numbers. 170 more cases were reported today, bringing the total number of cases to 3,314. We learned from county leaders that in 22% of those cases, patients were hospitalized. 5 more deaths were also reported, bringing the total deaths in San Diego County to 118. Navy destroyer USS Kidd pulled into the port of San Diego today after reporting dozens of cases of coronavirus on board. The ship arrived this morning coming up from waters near Mexico and will be thoroughly disinfected here while sailors remain on board. At last check, 18 on board have tested positive. 1 sailor had to be evacuated after experiencing severe symptoms. Today we got a closer look at how lifeguards are managing after the city of Oceanside and Encinitas reopened their beaches. San Diego County Sheriff's deputies are helping lifeguards out. Look at these crowds, you'll see why. Patrolling the sand and also guarding blocked off beach entrances. This was a scene at Moonlight Beach today. While the deputies help the lifeguards keep their eyes on the water, Captain Larry Giles says they need more lifeguards.
The additional lifeguards that we're bringing on is to help educate and manage folks for the physical distancing so they don't get up into groups and then we have to close the beach down. We're trying to prevent that from happening.
So you can run, walk, or jog on the beach, but you're not allowed to hang around and loiter and play in the sand. You can also swim, surf, or paddleboard or kayak, but no shore fishing and still no boating. Other North County cities like Carlsbad tell us they are waiting to coordinate timing with state parks, beaches before they consider reopening. So what about your weather? Here's Dagmar.
Looking at your Wednesday, you'll still see some of those stubborn coastal clouds. They will be part of the forecast overnight, and they will be gradual, slow, and stubborn to clear throughout your Wednesday along those beachfront cities. Looking at the inland valleys, you'll have some gradual clearing, but to mostly sunny skies. Temperatures in the coastal zones, upper 70s. Inland valleys, mid 80s. Coast may average out closer to the low 70s, but the warmest spots being the mid and upper 70s. Mountains, mid and upper 70s, mostly sunny skies. Deserts, still 102 to 106. The excessive heat warning remains in effect until Thursday, 9 p.m.
A dog in North Carolina has now tested positive for the coronavirus. Winston is a pug, and researchers believe he may be the first dog in the U.S. to have the virus. His owners say Winston's symptoms are mild. Winston was diagnosed when his owners all participated in a study at Duke University. CDC guidelines on pets say basically there is no evidence that animals play a significant role in spreading the virus. Well, for many people in person, Mother's Day celebrations may be off the table this year, but there are still a lot of options for no-contact gift ideas. Here are a few. You could get a culinary experience delivered, like Gold Belly, which ships regional favorites nationwide, like deep dish pizza from Chicago or bagels from New York. Subscription boxes are also an option, like wine boxes from Wink. You can't go wrong with flowers, of course, for Mother's Day. And companies like Bloomscape offered potted plant delivery. Whatever your order, do it as soon as possible.
You probably need a week in business days to place the order to ensure that it will get to her on time.
And remember, Mother's Day is Sunday, May the 10th. That's going to do it for our nightly check-in. Before we sign off, we want to make sure you subscribe to our Investigates Team podcast. It is called Insight if you're interested in podcasts. They released a new episode today where they chat with Sam, the cooking guy and the owner of the Casbah, about the restaurant and entertainment industry in a post-COVID-19 world. I'm Mark Mullena. Thanks for watching. Be safe. Have a good night.